everyone, welcome to the Essex Sport Facebook page. My name is Arlene. I'm going to run a 30-minute slow flow yoga session today. Before we begin, you might want to grab some water. Just make sure you've got plenty of space to move around and your floor is not slippery. Be good to have a yoga mat and any yoga accessories you might have as an option, to perhaps a yoga brick or a belt. Just see what you might need to feel comfortable. I encourage you to work at your own pace today. Just do the movements that feel comfortable. You're welcome to take a break at any time. Okay, great. So to start, if you want to come to your mat, and if you come to all fours on hands and knees, and just check in with how that feels today, and just notice the ground below you. And if you'd like to come to child's pose next, so slowly start to bring your bottom down towards your heels. And just stop at any point in this range. So let's notice how that feels. So maybe you'd like to stay here. You're welcome to bring your forearms down. And you might slowly start to bring your forehead towards the mat. So you can do that with a fist or two stacked. Maybe you're comfortable on the ground. You're even welcome to grab folded up towels or pillows. Anything that feels like it, just give you a bit of support. So we'll just stay here for a few breaths in child's pose. Make it comfortable, so check in. Would you like to widen the space between your knees and have your toes touch if you have any lower back issues? And how do you like your arms today? Do you want to reach them forwards to the front of the mat and kind of create that sense of length and longer sides? Or do you prefer to rest your forearms on the ground? And how much space do you like between your arms in your child's pose? So just rest another moment or two here and start to connect with your breath. Just observe it in its natural state. So notice your inhalation, the parts of your body that move, and your exhalation. And does your breath feel relaxed today? So just observe your breath, observe your body, and observe gravity just kind of pulling you downward. Good. So one more breath here. Lovely. And then when you're ready, just slide your hands so they're underneath your shoulders and slowly push yourself upwards, and we'll come back to all fours on our hands and knees. And just do that quite slowly, particularly if you have any low blood pressure issues. So just move gently from ground to all fours. Good. And then we'll just start to rock forwards and backwards from your hands to your knees. Check in with how that feels. Do you feel perhaps any movement in your lower back? So maybe there's a sense of lengthening when you rock forwards and almost a tucking under sense when you rock back. And you can do that quite slowly, but maybe it's a larger range with your bottom coming to your heels, almost a child's pose, and flexing your wrists when you come forward. Good. Lovely. And we'll start to make this into a circling. So the next time you come forward, you can start to circle over to the right, then behind you and to the left. And just do that at the range, again, that feels comfortable. So maybe that's quite small, and you might feel that start to almost like draw circles on the ceiling with your tailbone. You might make that larger with your bottom coming to your heels and your side, your rib cage starting to create a bit of release. Good. And then we'll go in the other direction. So when you're ready, start over to the left, behind you, to the right, and just notice where it's comfortable. So to look, and check in with how your jaw feels, so that it feels at ease with your breath, and maybe that starts to create ease in the sides of your body and your muscles. Good. And we'll come back to all fours on your hands and knees here. Good. So if you reach your right arm out to the side and then rotate gently, and just stop wherever that's comfortable. You might look up at your fingertips and just observe how that kind of opens your chest space. Lovely. And as you exhale, we'll lower our arm and start to slide your right hand between your left wrist and knee. Stop at any point here, and you can start to feel that open with your breath between your shoulder blades. You're welcome to start to bend your left elbow and slowly come down. You can pop a cushion or a pillow here underneath your head, or maybe rest on the floor. Is that where you'd like to stay? You can even come into that deeper by bringing your bottom closer to your heels, just as an option. Even reach your fingers up forwards to the front of the mat, or maybe add to the rotation by bending your elbow and resting your hand on your lower back. You can even turn your head to gaze upwards to increase that rotation. But just check in with how this feels on the side of your neck, your jaw, and particularly between your shoulder blades. Can you almost imagine that there's a balloon your breath is inflating gently between your shoulder blades? Good. So one more breath here. Lovely. And when you're ready, slowly start to unfold. Come back up to all fours on your hands and knees, and just take a moment to notice how the right side feels compared to the left side. And then we'll do the other side. So just at your own pace, left arm reaches out, inhale, rotating Stop where that's comfortable. Maybe you feel that gaze upwards and notice how that opens your chest space. Then when you're ready, you might move with your exhalation to lower your arms, start to slide your hand between right wrist and knee. Again, stop anywhere in that same range. Same options here. Just notice maybe you'd like to rest at a different place, and maybe rest your right hand at a different place than your left hand was. Good, and just notice how does that feel in your shoulder blades, the side of your neck. Can you feel gravity? Just notice if it feels like you're lifting upwards towards the ceiling, and can you relax towards the ground to release any tension there. Good, lovely. And when you're ready, we'll slowly come back up through all fours on hands and knees. Good, we'll practice cat and cow next. So gently bring your stomach towards the mat, tailbone tips up, and then look up with your head. And then slowly round your spine. So you engage your navel here, and you can look down at your knees and soften your hands into the mat. Relax through your jaw and the back of your neck. So if you'd like to add a breathing pattern to this, you might inhale for cow when your stomach comes towards the mat, and exhale for cat, rounding upwards. But just do the breath that feels comfortable for you, and you don't have to worry about coordinating the movement with the breath, only if that feels comfortable and nice. So it's quite a nice way to connect the body with the breath and create a sense of openness, but don't worry if that feels like a bit much today. Just do the movements at a pace that feels comfortable. Good, so we'll do 2 more rounds of cat and cow. And just think about where you connect with the ground. Can you relax your hands, your knees into the mat? Good, lovely. Last one here. Good, then we'll come back to all fours on your hands and knees. And just setting up for a downward facing dog. So tuck your toes, bring your bottom to your heels. As you exhale, lift your tailbone up and your sitting bones coming to downward facing dog. So it feels quite similar to child's pose, having a long spine and neck. And it's almost like you're reaching your tailbone to the wall behind you. You're welcome to have a bend here in your knees. You might start to soften your heels towards the ground. And just check in with how you'd like to practice that today. So maybe start to bend your knees to bring movement to that. You might start to lift your heels, stay there and bend your knees, then lengthen your legs before lowering your heels again. There's a little pattern there. Check in with how that feels. It kind of awakens the ankles as well as the calf muscles and the balls of your feet. Good, and maybe you start to lift one leg at a time to come through a flying dog. So you can start to lift one leg, bend your knee towards your navel, and stretch it out again so your heel lengthens away, and do the other leg. So just do that at your own pace. You can even start to add a little turn with your head looking either direction underneath your armpit, and you can even open your hip out to the side. Just notice how that feels for you. Lovely. And then when you're ready, come to a stillness and either walk hands to feet or feet to hands. Come to stay in a forward folded position for a few breaths. So you might do that with support by bending your knees and resting your forearms on your thighs. You can do that with straighter legs. Maintain a little bend in your knees and just rest your hands wherever that's comfortable. Sometimes it's quite nice to practice this with a long spine, so you can feel the folding coming from your hip space as you bring your upper body towards your legs. And just do that at the range that feels comfortable. We'll stay here for a few breaths. Just check in. Do you feel the weight towards your toes more, towards your heels more? Can you shift so it feels even throughout your foot? Do you feel the weight more on the inner part of your foot, near your toes, your big toe, or through your little toe? And just see if you can make a little subtle adjustments. Just check in, and there's almost a sense that you're kind of relaxing the top of your head away from you. Okay, so one more breath here. Lovely. And when you're ready, we'll come up to standing. You might take a little bend to your knees, draw your navel inward, unroll your spine very slowly, chin to chest to bring your head up last. When you're upright, we'll bring our arms, our shoulders up to our ears, give a little roll back. Good, and then roll your shoulders forward. Just checking with how that feels. Good, lovely. You step your feet together, check in. Perhaps the weight feels even throughout your feet. With your inhalation, bring your palms up overhead. Arms up overhead, let your palms touch. Start to lengthen your fingers to the ceiling. Then as you exhale, take a side bend to one side. Notice how that feels. And back to center. Lengthen up. Exhale, other direction. Little side bend. Good. Back to center here. Then slowly open your arms out to the side. Good. Lovely. So we'll walk towards the front of the mat for a little sun salutation sequence. So just notice how you feel from the front of your mat. Shoulders over your hips. Back of your head might be in line with your tailbone. Weight evenly throughout your feet. Good. Option to move with your breath. Inhaling, arms up. Lengthening your fingers to your ceiling. And you might gaze upwards to come into a little upper back bend. If you want to make that deeper, shift the weight to your heels. Hips kind of come forward, and you lift your breastbone up towards the ceiling as your rib cage lifts away from your hip space. Good. Then as you exhale, come back upright, chin to chest, slowly roll down. Return to forward fold, but just stop wherever that's comfortable. Check in. How would you like to practice that today? Do you feel kind of a folding from your hip space? No pressure to come into that deeply. Option to bend your knees and have the forearms to rest on your thigh. So just see where you'd like to practice that. And notice again the sense of the ground. Does it feel differently? Is the weight more in your right foot than your left, or vice versa? Just notice if you can make little shifts to feel evenly balanced. Good. Last breath here. And we'll bend our knees, place your hands on the floor, the width of your shoulders, then step your right foot comfortably back. So we're in a kind of a runner's lunge called equestrian or Ashwasanthalasana. Option to bring your knee down and relax your foot. If that feels a bit intense on the front of your hip space or your thigh, you can bring your knee a little bit closer to your left foot. Good, so just stay into that as much as feels comfortable. Keep your hands on the ground. Good. Open your left arm out to the side. So we're going to rotate towards the bent knee that's in front of us. And just stop wherever that's comfortable. So again, you can do this with your knee down and just rotate as much as feels comfortable. So at maximum, you might have your arm extended up towards the ceiling. And just feel that rotation where it stems perhaps through your lower back. Any tension, ease out of it. Good, one more breath here. Slowly come back to have your hands shoulder width apart on the mat. Push to plank pose. Then from here, we'll come to down dog. So hinge back your tailbone like it's coming towards the wall behind you. Check in with how this feels. Do you like holding that in stillness? Maybe you start to bring a little movement to that. Just notice how you'd like to practice your downward facing dog today. Good. So one more breath here. Practice flying dog with our right leg. So lift your right leg away from the floor. Knee stays towards the ground. Lift as high as feels comfortable. Good. And that sense of almost of pushing through your hands so your heel kind of reaches to that wall behind you. Good. One more breath here. Bend your right knee. Bring it towards your navel. You can look between your hands and step your right foot forward. If that's uncomfortable, bring your foot down first and then bring your knees down to all fours before stepping your right foot forward. Good, so just see where that's comfortable for you. Good, so option to have your left knee down here. We'll do that same rotation on the other side this time. So right arm reaches out to the side. Gently start to rotate. See if you like to look up towards your fingertips. Notice how that feels. A little rotation through your lower back, perhaps openness in your chest. Good. One more breath here. Lovely. Slowly rotate back to center. Step your feet together. Return to forward fold. Same options. Where is that comfortable? Maybe it feels a bit different here in your body. And option to turn your head side to side. Or you can even bend your elbows and hold onto the opposite forearm. Good. So one more breath here. When you're ready, draw your navel inwards. Slowly unfold your spine up to standing head up last. Chin to chest. Inhale, arms up. Upper back bend option. Weight to your heels, hips forward. Lengthen your front body. Good, and as you exhale, slowly return to forward fold, chin to chest. Stop wherever that's comfortable. Just check in with how that feels. You might turn your head side to side. Notice if your knees have a bit of space behind them, just to protect the joints. A little micro bend if that's comfortable. It's almost a sense that your sitting bones are lengthening up towards the ceiling. Good, one more breath here. Hands on the floor, the width of your shoulders. This time left foot steps back for equestrian pose. Good. Knee down option here. See if you'd like to shorten your stance. Do it at your own range, your own pace today. Good. So right arm reaches out to the side again. Rotate. Stop wherever that's comfortable. Maybe at maximum. Bringing your arm towards the ceiling or slightly beyond. Good. Just come into that range slowly. Notice what feels nice in your chest. To create space in your lower back. To create that nice rotation, ease. Lovely. Hands back to mat. Push to plank pose. You can come to all fours if you prefer. Then we'll slowly hinge back to downward facing dog. If that feels intense, you can do child's pose as an alternative. See what feels nice for your body. Good. Stay here. Little option to bicycle your feet out. Turn your head side to side. You might wiggle your hips a little. Just create length as if your tailbone's trying to reach slowly to the wall behind you. Good. We'll practice flying dog with our left leg next. So left leg lifts up for flying dog. If that's uncomfortable, you might do this from all fours by extending your left leg straight behind you. And that doesn't have to be too high, just wherever that feels nice. Good. One more breath here. Then bend your left knee towards your navel. Look between your hands. Step left foot forward between your hands. Same options from all fours. Step your foot forward. You can use your hand to assist. Good. Knee down option on your right. Left arm reaches out to the side, so we're rotating towards our bent left knee. And just notice again, where would you like to practice that? What range feels nice on this side? Good. One more breath here. Gently rotate back to center. Step your feet together. Come back to the forward fold. Notice where that's comfortable. Maybe you turn your head side to side. Lovely. And we'll start to draw our navel inward and fold your spine up to standing, head up last. Inhale, arms up. Upper back bend option, wait till your heels tips forward. Good. As you exhale, slowly bring your chin to chest, slide back down, back to forward fold. Hands on the mat. Just step your feet back, either to plank pose or all fours. Just check in with how that feels for you. Good. So option one, if you're not fours, extend your one leg behind you, and then you might lift up. Keep your knee towards the floor. If you'd like to practice that from plank pose, so kind of a three-limbed plank, you can lift your heels straight up. So just come into that at the range that feels comfortable. Good. Then we'll switch to the other side. So same with all fours. Maybe extend one leg, lift it up. From plank, lift your leg straight up, the other leg straight up. Good. Check in. You could shift so it feels like your wrists are under your shoulders, that nice tabletop back. So just avoiding a bottom up in the air, kind of like a pyramid, more like a nice table. Good. One more breath here. Lovely. Bring your knees down to the mat. And we'll slowly come to a child's pose or extended child's pose. So just see which one you feel comfortable with. Bottom to your heels. Extended child's pose, we have our arms overhead. Maybe you like to bring your arms out to the side, or even rest them either side of your feet, or you can even bring your hands onto your lower back. And you might stay there, just with your elbows bent out to the side, or interlace your fingers. And just very slowly, you can even add a rotation through your arms and extend your arms straight behind you. So just see where you like to practice these variations of child's pose or extended child's pose. Good, so just notice what feels nice for your body. Good, so one more breath here. Lovely. So we'll slowly start to uncurl. And if you start to come back to all fours on your hands and knees. Good. From here, we're going to do a little reach. So reach your same arm and leg will reach out. So reach your right fingertips to the front of your mat. And slowly reach your left toes to the wall behind you. So you can feel straight arm and leg on the right side. So as an option, you can start to lift just your right arm off the floor or just your right leg. So same arm and leg. If it's comfortable, you can do both. See how that feels. Sense of reaching fingers and toes. And maybe that you can feel a little sensation or release on the front of your hip. Good. One more breath here. Lovely. And lower your arm. Bend your knee. Bring your knee towards your navel. And you can round your spine up like you do with cat. And then lengthen your leg long behind you again. Lift as high as you feel comfortable with your leg, but keep your hips level so it doesn't feel like one hip is higher than the other. And then slowly do that once more. Knee to your navel, round your spine like cat. Look down at your knee. Lengthen your leg away. Good. Lovely. So we'll do the same on the other side. So left fingertips to the front of the mat, left toes behind. Options to stay here. Come back to all fours at any time with arm or leg. Maybe you like to lift just your leg, just your arm, or both. See how that feels. What little adjustments do you make? Good. One more breath here. Lovely. Lowering down. Bring your left knee to your navel or the leg you're working. Round up like cat, and then extend your leg. Do that twice more. Rounding. Come into that as much as feels comfortable. It doesn't have to be large. Good. Last one here. Good. Extend, and then back to all fours. Good. We can do a little circle of our hips. So it feels like you're drawing a circle on the ceiling with your tailbone in either direction, just to create a sense of release through your lower back. Good. And then come back to all fours. You can lean back to child's pose. Reach your fingers to the front of the mat. And as an option to relax your wrist, you might lift your weight onto your fingertips only, so like your wrists lift up to the ceiling, or you might even turn your palms of your hands upwards. And just see how that feels. Relax through your hands, your forearms. Relax through your lower back. Good. One more breath here. Lovely. So we'll turn our palms down, slowly come back up to all fours. Good. So we're going to do another reach. If you're getting a bit intense, any tension on your wrists, you're welcome to make fists, wrapping your thumb around your knuckles, and that circle that your thumb creates with your index finger would point towards the front of the mat. And just do that again wherever that's comfortable. Okay. So we're going to do same arm and leg again. So reach your right toes behind you, right fingertips forward. Optional lift. If you want to make that deeper, you can bend your knee. And if you want to add a little sense of balance, you can start to reach your right fingertips towards your leg behind you. Bend, hold onto your ankle. And if you want more, you can start to rotate through your right shoulder so you're kind of pushing your ankle or the top of your foot into your hands. Good. If you want that to make that more challenging, you can look over your shoulder. Good. So one more breath here. Lovely. And when you're ready, slowly relax. Come back to all fours. On hands and knees, a little circle in either direction with your hips, like you're drawing a circle on the ceiling with your tailbone. Good. With the other side when you're ready. So left toes reach behind you, right toes reach forwards. Option to stop. Maybe at that lift, same arm and leg. stay wherever that's comfortable. Come out at any time. Option to bend your knee. Start to bring your arm back behind you, and you can start to push your foot into your hand just behind your knee, so there's no rotation in your knee that's uncomfortable. Again, you can start to turn your head to gaze upwards towards the ceiling if you want to come into that deeper, or to challenge your balance. Good. So one more round of breath here. Lovely. And then when you're ready, you can slowly relax out. Lower back down. Good. Another circle, maybe the other direction with your hips. Good. 2 circles there. Lovely. And we'll come back to child's pose. Maybe as an option, if you have lower back tension, you can widen the space between your knees and have your toes touch before you bring your bottom down towards your heels, and then relax your upper body down. So just rest wherever that's comfortable. Support for your head, whether that's your fists or some pillows or folded up towels or blankets, or you can rest your forehead on the ground. Good, just stay there for a few moments. Any tension in your lower back, you can give your hips a little wiggle side to side. Good, lovely. And then when you're ready, slowly walk your hands back. Push up through all fours. Good. And we'll come up to a kneeling position. Good. Just check in with how that feels. So just kneel so your shoulders are above your hip space and your hips are above your knees, so if you're not kind of avoiding any angles backwards or forwards is kind of more challenging. Good. For a different time for those things. Okay. So just kneeling comfortably. You're welcome to kneel on a cushion or fold up your mat if you want extra padding for your knees. Good. So slowly reach both arms up towards the ceiling. Stay there, and you might start to lengthen your fingertips up towards the ceiling. If you want more, you can start to turn your eyes or even your head to gaze upwards, but feel an upward lift, so it feels like your lower ribs are starting to lift upwards from your hip space here. Okay, so stay if that's comfortable. Come down at any time. If you want to come into this deeper, you might tuck your toes under so the balls of your feet are on the ground and your knees are straight, your heels are straight from your knees. Good, then very slowly start to rotate through your arms. And it's almost like the Titanic here, like your breastbone is lengthening forward. Good, and then stay if that's comfortable. You can start to lower your arms. Option 1, bring the palms of your hands onto your lower back, and almost like a sense that you're pushing down with the palms of your hands, so you can liberate your rib cage upwards. So you can really feel this is like an upper back bend from that space behind, opposite of your breastbone. Good. If you want to come into that deeper, you're welcome to lengthen your arms behind you, lifting your breastbone up, so it doesn't feel like our bottom's coming towards the heels. And you can even start to relax your head back, or even flatten your feet if you want to come deeper. Good. So just come into that as much as feels comfortable. There's no pressure to come into that deeply. Good. So one more breath here. Lovely. And then when you're ready, slowly bring chin to chest, hinge forward, circle your arms up. Then we'll come back to child's pose. So bottom comes to your heels. You can walk your hands forward, stop wherever that's comfortable. Again, any tension in your lower back, you might widen the space between your knees and have your toes touch. And just stay here for a few moments. Option to give your hips a little wiggle side to side, or start to lengthen your fingertips to the front of the mat. If you want to come into that deeper, you can even lift your head a bit so your chin and your breastbone are on the ground a little bit, as long as that doesn't create any tension or discomfort at the back of your neck. So it's almost like you're looking at your fingertips. Good. Another breath here. Lovely. And when you're ready, walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Slowly push yourself up. Good. And we'll come to sit on our bottom with our knees bent, feet next to each other. Hold onto your shins. You might have a sense of lengthening upwards. Good. And then we'll start to butterfly our knees open. Have the bottoms of your feet touch. Lengthen the top of your head towards the ceiling so you can connect with your sitting bones. Option to stay here. If you want more, exhale, hinge forward so your breastbone comes towards your feet. Maybe come into that deeper. Good. You might even reach your fingertips to the front of your mat or in front of you on the ground. Lovely. Then we'll walk our hands back, slowly hinge up. Good, so keep one foot with your knee bent and the other leg, just open it out to the side, your knees up to the ceiling. If you want to make that a bit of a deeper connection, you can flex your foot. Maybe your foot stays here in that kind of half cobbler's pose or Baddha Konasana, or you can draw your sole of your foot, of your bent knee, closer to your thigh. Check in here, lengthen the top of your head up. Inhale. As you exhale, walk your hands forward so your hips are coming straight forward. Just notice how that feels on your body. Relax through your sitting bones. So it feels like your hips or your bottom is lifting away from the floor. You might walk your hands a little bit further back. You're welcome to come into that deeper. Just come into that as much as feels comfortable. Good. And we'll walk our hands slowly back up. Good. And then the knee that's bent, walk your hands. So one is either side of the bent knee. And then from there, walk your hands forward. So it's like your breastbone is coming in the direction or towards your bent knee, not as a destination. Again, if you feel your bottom lifting away from the floor, anchor down through your sitting bones, you can stay here. Option to rest your head if you do have any yoga blocks or some stack of books nearby, you can rest your forehead on them at any height. Good. So one more breath here. Lovely. Then walk your hands back. Okay, so we're going to place our straight arm on the inside of our straight leg, or we're going to straighten your arm, put your arm on the inside of your straight leg. Keep that rotation so your breastbone is towards your bent knee. And then the other arm will reach it up to the ceiling and just feel that side grow. Same arm that's extended up, and you might look at your hand and then keep your chest revolved towards your bent knee, but we'll start to take a little side bend. So stop wherever that's comfortable. For more sensation, you can push your hand on the inside of your straight leg. That helps to revolve your chest outward. If you come into that deeper, you're welcome to bring your fingertips towards your toes. You're kind of looking underneath your armpit there. So just come into that as much as feels comfortable for you, but really thinking about that rotation. So it creates a little bit of release from the side of your body and your lower back. Good. So one more breath here. Lovely. And then when you're ready, slowly start to reach your arm back up. Hinge back. Good. We'll bend both knees. Come back to center. Just check in. How does this one side of your body feel to the other? Good. So come through the Baddha Konasana or cobbler's pose with your knees out to the side, bottoms of your feet touch. But this time just straighten the opposite leg. Good. Let's check in. Would you like your foot here, closer to your body, or bottom of your foot inside your straight leg? Good. So we'll come to that forward fold position first. So inhale, top of the head lengthens up. Walk your hands forward so your hips are coming straight forward like they're your hands are just on a train track line from your hip bones evenly. Good. Just coming to that as much as feels comfortable. So again, you can bring any support to rest your head on as an option. Good. Another breath here. Lovely. And when you're ready, slowly walk your hands back. Good. Check in if your straight legs feels uncomfortable. You can have a little bend in your knees, or we can place any towels there. So we'll start to rotate through your waist and walk your hands. So one is either side of your knees. Good. So we're facing to the side, breastbone almost coming towards our bent knee, and walk your hands forward on that diagonal. Good. Again, stop wherever that's comfortable. Check in. Is this the straight leg, the knee up towards the ceiling? You might make that deeper by flexing your foot, and again, come into that as much as feels comfortable. If your bottom starts to lift away from the floor, just perhaps release back. Good. One more breath here. Lovely. And when you're ready, slowly walk your hands back. Good. Keep your body as it is. Your arm comes onto the inside edge of your straight leg. Good. Other arm, inhale up. Good. You can look up at your fingers. Keep your chest revolved. And exhale, little side bend here. Just check in with how that feels. Again, maybe you come into that deeper by bringing your fingertips towards your toes of your other leg. Good. One more breath here. Lovely. Then slowly start to hinge back up. Good. Bend both knees. Place your feet on the floor and just lean back a little. And you can start to kind of windshield wiper your knees side to side. Check in with how that feels. You can bring your feet closer to make the range larger. Good. Just a little rotation, and perhaps you start to feel a rotation in your lower back as when your knee comes to the center, kind of brings your hip up and rotates your lower back. Good. Just do that at the range that feels comfortable. Lovely. And then when you're ready, we'll come to lay on our back with our knees bent. Good. Bring your knees to your chest or your thighs towards your chest and hold your shins here. And just check in. So you might like holding, or you can bring a little movement to that if it feels like your body would like a little massage. Good. Just move my block out of the way. Lovely. But if you slowly start to hold onto either your toes with the bottoms of your feet to the ceiling, or you might hold onto the back of your calf muscles or your thighs. Lovely. And then we'll start to lengthen our legs straight up. And just see where that's comfortable to support your legs. And stay there if that feels all right. If otherwise, as an alternative, you can start to open your legs into kind of a straddle position. Good. And just checking with how that feels again, so you can hold onto your legs wherever that's comfortable. You kind your lower back, so it feels like you can rest fully on your back, the back on the floor. Good. And it doesn't feel like there's any tension in your lower back or your shoulders. Lovely. And when you're ready, we'll kind of bend our knees and bring your feet towards each other. Good. And bend your knees towards your chest, or thighs towards your chest with your knees bent. And we'll come to a little happy baby pose. You can start to rock side to side a little bit and just make this quite organic. So sometimes it's nice to lengthen one leg up to the ceiling, or you can open one leg out to the side at a time, or maybe you like to do that with your knees, your feet even. So just see how that feels. Lovely. And then when you're ready, very slowly relax your feet to the floor and just check in. You can make any stretches if you'd like to windshield wipe your knees or take a nice full body stretch. See what feels comfortable for you. And then just take a moment to relax. See how you'd like to find a relaxation posture, arms out to the side, or maybe one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. And just feel the flow of your breath even. Your inhalation rising, filling you with calm, with openness, with perspective. And as you exhale, relaxing. And you're welcome to stay here in your relaxation longer. Whenever it feels right to come out, you can just slowly start to reconnect with your body, wiggling your fingers and toes. And just let your movements be very slow, so there's no rush to come out of your relaxation. I'll leave you here now to enjoy your relaxation longer if desired. But thank you for coming to practice with me today. I hope you have a peaceful rest of your day, and feel free to check out the other videos that we have and the other sessions coming up on Essex Sport. We've got a YouTube page, and also send over any messages on Facebook Messenger if you have any. All right, thank you.